Hello Internet, I'm HamsterBomb, and this is the first ever Xenoblade Figma. This is sweet. I was so excited when they finally started dedicating themselves to making these. The only Figma that the Xeno series has ever had up to this point was Cosmos from Xenosaga 3. I've also got a review on that one if you want to check that one out. But aside from that, they've just got some pop-up parades they've done, and honestly, those are really expensive and take up a lot of space, and I don't have that much of either, honestly. So this is cool. We're doing one from Xenoblade 3. I absolutely loved that game. I've got a review of that on the channel if you'd like to check that out as well. Kind of a weird pick that they chose Mio first, as opposed to Noah, but granted, if it's not going to be Noah, Mio should absolutely be second. She's a great character in the game. The second one that they've already announced that they're going to do, for some reason, is going to be Uni. I mean, that's fine. I love all the characters in that game, but I always undersell how horny the internet is, and just because the character is female, they want that figure first, so whatever sells and what actually gets us some Xenoblade stuff, I'm down for it. So anyway, we are gonna look at a brand new unboxing for this. The only thing that I have done, just to save us a little bit of time, was already open the bottom of the box and take out some of the plastic so that we don't have to spend so much time digging through all of that stuff. So as you can see, the box is very nice looking. We always have nice boxes from Good Smile. I do want to show the backdrop inside of this. It's really cool. They actually have this nice print of the Xenoblade 3 backdrop. Yeah, very cool. The Makana sword and, what was that, Araya or something like that from Blade 2? I don't remember. Blade 2 is just meh. So, looking at Mio, this is already coming with a decent amount of stuff. I did put together the stand, so if you just want to get that stuff out of the way, this is just as nice as any of the other Figma stands. They haven't really changed this in the many years that I have been looking at their stuff, so it's good to have another one of these. Let's see, we've also got a Figma bag. These are also very nice to have, because Figmas come with a lot of tiny little pieces, and you don't want to lose them. I will open this up so we can see some of the goodies inside here. One of them I do not want to lose, and that is an extra joint that they give you for, I assume the neck, but it might be possible to also use it for a wrist joint. I'm not seeing it in here, but there is the Figma bag. You can also write, you know, names on there. I've never done it, honestly. Like, they're clear. You don't have to do that. There it is. Okay, good. I was actually talking about this little joint. I want to make sure I can show it to you. This little thing right here is an extra piece that you've got. Do not lose this. It comes with each Figma in case something goes wrong. You will be able to make some repairs. I've never needed to do this on a Figma. Their stuff is generally a lot nicer than some other brands where I have had things break, and they didn't give me the courtesy of having this extra piece, so I appreciate it. Don't lose these. Next up, two things popped out of there first, so I could say let's just look at the hands that this is going to come with. These are the alternative ones. She has two open hands right now in the background, so as opposed to the two open hands, we've got a couple here that are for cusping, I assume, her weapons. I'm not actually sure what you call those discs, but we'll just say weapons for the sake of this video. So those, she has a left and a right, because obviously she will dual wield them and hold them at the same time. These next two appear to be options for holding the flute, and the one following, I think, is going to be for holding the journal, which she also has in the back. We'll take a look at all that stuff later. And then two fist hands. So that's a total of 10 hands that she comes with. So that's a good amount of a lot of stuff that she's going to be using. So that's cool. I'm excited that they actually decided to give you that many accessories for Mio. If anything, the extraneous thing is the hair alternative, but some people are, I don't know, very particular, so I guess that's good that they have that there. Personally, I would have rathered the whole thing just cost a little bit less and, you know, cut the hair option, but let's take a look at the instructions. The reason I want to open these up is because as of the last Figma I got to look at for you guys, they started finally writing this in English. Yay! It is in Japanese on the other side, of course, but now, if there's particular parts or problematic things that you're going to run into, at least you have the courtesy of understanding what they're trying to tell you. Also, it has a little bit of information on how you're supposed to be removing some joints, also how you're able to adjust the hip joints, because it is, as you can see in there, 2 different ball spokes that can independently move. So there's a lot of movement in these things. They're very, very nice. But I'm sure that's not what you came here to look at. Just showing you, hey, it's neat. They are writing these suckers in English. It is time to actually open this up, and let's see what we got inside. So obviously here's Mio herself. I'm just gonna have her stand in the background while we look at the other stuff. I am noticing something right now on mine. The stand here is supposed to go into this little hole, and typically if you have one that's a little bit too tight like mine is right now, you need to heat it up in order to make sure that this can even get in there. It makes the plastic a little more malleable and it holds it better. But in addition to that, let me get really close. I've never had this happen before, but you can see right there, it is supposed to be a hexagonal shape, but there is actually some divots of plastic that are bowing inwards. It's just, I guess, random chance from the mold that it could happen, but that little extra bit is preventing me from even putting the stand together right now, so that's a bummer. Couldn't get Mio to stand up without that stand, so she's just leaning on the plastic for now. We're gonna look at some extra face plates this comes with. Here's the first one here is, I guess, just angry action shouty face. It's nice to see that the very detailed eyes that we get in Xenoblade 3 are coming across in these tiny little painted faces. You can see how small this is compared to my fingers. And in Xenoblade 3 especially, they have lots of color in their eyes, so it's good to see that they spent a lot of extra time making sure that these eyes look really nice. Here is just a, I guess, mildly blushing, smiling face. I guess nice to have, gets her character across. And more of a somber face, but also this is the one used for playing the flute, so this one kind of doubles. It is nice. Try and get a quick sneak peek. The final faceplate you can see is more of an eyes open smiling face, so we do have plenty of options. And great, now I gotta set this up again. Speaking of that itty bitty little flute, here it is. It looks very detailed for how small it is. I am surprised that they didn't try to paint inside of little holes in here, just so that you could actually see, you know, where the flute would actually function, but of course it's super small, and that's really not necessary, but still, I like the little gold accents on it, and the little tassel that hangs down. Looks good. I guess if we're going smallest to biggest, let's keep looking around. This is the journal. It's kind of odd. She doesn't really use this too often in the game's cutscenes itself. This is more so something that you're going to see in the story as you hit different chapters, and the game asks if you would like to save. Though it's very nice to see the highly detailed information that it jots down in here. It looks like scribbled notes that are indecipherable, and her counting down the days until she is gone. Like, it's a shame that, you know, if she's holding it, it's gonna be facing away, and you're not gonna see all the detail that they put in there, but still, that's really nice. All right, next we got the two, as we could just say, weapons. They look like they are identical to each other. One is not a left or a right, but still, they're really nice. They're good size. I don't really know what else to say about these things. They're just literally the plastic piece. Luckily, her weapons are really easy to hold. I can't imagine that these are gonna weigh the figure down, but typically when you have a figure with weapons, they weigh them down all the time. Mio actually is going to be a really easy one for that. I can only imagine what happens if they try to make Senna later and they have an enormous hammer. That figure won't work, but still, it'll be interesting to at least see what they do in the coming future, because we do have Uni, and she is has a giant medic gun. Anyway, here's the alternative hair piece that you can put on, and it has multiple posable parts. So first, this would be an alternate piece that you would pop out the whole head from the figure and take the front part off, which I guess I'll show right now. Comes off just like that. And you would put in whatever chosen faceplate you want inside, plug the hair back on, and replace the head. And that would be that. So inside of here, as you can see it kind of moving, there are some ball joints that are holding the whole thing up. And then the back main chunk of the hair here is just on like a regular elbow joint. So that can move decently far. It's these side ones that actually have a lot of more movement, and I honestly didn't expect any movement at all in those, so that's kind of interesting to see. And also, you know, it's kind of going above and beyond having this as an option, but since in the game, eventually you have the option to select how you want Mio's hair to appear without trying to spoil anything, then I guess, yeah, for the people who chose the long hair, here you go. You can now have that option. Though, personally, just for me, it seems like this was already established as our character. I kind of preferred the short hair. Alright, now, in time for the main event, Mio herself. Let's take a look at this. There's a lot of parts I was interested to see how this was going to work, namely the jacket and the skirt. Since this stuff has to be thick, posable plastic, there usually are going to be some sorts of snags that they're going to run into in trying to make them physically work in real 3D space. So, one thing at a time, we can already see as we looked at the head, it's going to have that regular joint on the neck. Sorry about the upskirt, I'm trying to look at the neck, I swear, without knocking over my camera. Anyway, the back of the hair is just going to look like the regular shortened hair. I like there's a random strand that is actually sticking out, gives it a better sculpt. Moving down from there, an interesting snag that they already had to run into with Mio was the fact that she has, I guess, like spaghetti straps with a jacket on the side, and that would expose a bit of her shoulder, and due to that, you would actually see then the exposed joint on the inside. But since everything is colored properly, and the Figma joints are just outstanding, you've got a ton of movement in there still, and it doesn't really matter. This is probably the most extreme thing that I could do. You put both arms up and you can now kind of see that it's separated from the jacket, and that does look a little weird. But just one small adjustment like that, or twist it a little bit, and you can still get the jacket to look like it's connecting and is one large piece. Another thing about the jacket is it feels a little different than the rest of the plastic. You can see here that it kind of shimmers. It's got this glossy paint to it, and it actually feels a little smoother than the rest. Like it's got like a not a sticky gummy, but a very, very smooth, almost like an acrylic coating to it. It looks really good. It looks just like a shimmering jacket. I love the folds that they have in this, so like no matter what, it's gonna look like this thing is actiony and was moving around, or it was just blowing in the breeze. It's very good. Looks like the arm right here, there is a point where you can twist. You can see that happening right there. Probably to try and disguise how much of the shoulder was being exposed here, so that the arm is still going to function and everything will look okay. We got a regular elbow joint, no surprise there, though the jacket plastic on the outside is giving it some extra girth. And then we come to the hands, of course. These are the extra hands we did not take a look at earlier. They're just two simple open hands. And then, of course, the same on the other side. So let's take a closer look at the side of this jacket. If I can try and get her hips out of the way here, that might help a little bit. Let's try and look through here and see how this thing is actually operating. There seems to be a very small ball joint on the inside, and if you look very closely, you can see a letter R on that side and a letter L on the other, if that one is coming up at all. Right and left, probably for the assembly process. But it looks like you have a decent amount of movement with it. I honestly didn't expect any, so the fact that like you can move this and get some extra, you know, control out of how you want the jacket to look is pretty cool. Moving down from there, I believe we now have two joints inside of the body. So from the upper torso, the upper chest area, there is one here. You can try and move that around, as you can see. And then below, from the waist, there is another, meaning you can do something like this, you know, or bend substantially more than you ever could with some of the earlier Figmas that I own, at least. So they give you an impressive amount of movement while still completely disguising where the joints are, and I think that's really cool. Moving down to the hips, actually, you know, the skirt is kind of interesting too. So I kind of mentioned there's some softer plastics up here to help with some better movement. Down here in the skirt, this is probably the softest plastic on the whole thing. And you can try to, there, you can see like a seam. It's kind of hard to see. They hid this very well. There, see, I'm going to stretch it as far as I can, and you can start to see that's kind of the edge of it, but it accordion folds in on itself, and, ooh, there's another split right there. If you caught that right there, I'm trying to pull it open. It's hard to see, but because of that, you can push it together so that the skirt looks like it is collapsing ordinarily. Honestly, the bright lights that I'm putting it under is making it easier to see them, so I guess that is, it's good for you now, but I promise when I put this on my shelf, you're not going to see any of that. And of course, you have like the two, they look like they're in the front mostly, so if you're going to do, I don't know, just very quickly, widespread, like a running kind of pose, it's going to look completely normal, and that's good. Underneath, we already saw a better photo in the instructions where it showed us that there were two posable joints here that are holding the legs, and that has pretty much been the thing as far back as even my oldest Figmas, so that is good that they're still doing that. You can twist these things, you can bend them in any which way. The only thing that'll hold this hip movement back is honestly going to be that skirt, but the skirt, as we saw, they kind of made it an extra soft plastic, and you're able to pull it apart if you really wanted to, and you could try and get some near splits with it, but anyway, moving on from there. You have the joints that you can actually visibly see in the back of the calf area, the back of the knee, which helps disguise them in the front. These look very nice. And down below, very nicely sculpted boots, by the way. These look really good. The actual shoes themselves, I don't know how well Mio's gonna stand up on her own, but because I'm worried about that stand now. But still, you have a lot of movement in the feet. These are very good joints again. And I can see that it looks like the toe, yep, the toe is also on a joint. It was a little stuck if you heard that click for me, but that does mean there, I'm pushing as far as it can go. You can really make her run with that one if you were, you know, trying to do something along those lines. And it goes all the way down to perfectly flat foot, which I'm going to definitely need if I'm going to try and make her stand up without her stand. But anyway, yeah, I'm very happy with this one. I'm happy mostly to see that Xenoblade is finally getting some Figma representation. It's such a great franchise. I've loved it. They're really, it's great in Xenoblade, it's great in Xenosaga, and Xenogears is outstanding. So I am definitely going to be having my eye on Uni when she comes out. I'm hoping that they come with some more later. Noah would be the one. I don't know why they're skipping Noah, but honestly, if they're not doing Noah next, at least Senna makes sense, so you do the female cast, but honestly, then, like, I don't want an incomplete set, you know? So I'm going to do my best. I'll try and grab the ones that I can. But either way, I can let you know the next Figma/Good Smile product that I have already pre-ordered that is going to be coming in later this year is the Emmy from Metroid Dread. I'm very excited to see that one. It's going to be oversized, big metal screw parts and everything. It is going to be a doozy. But thank you guys so much for joining me for this one. Remember to like the videos and subscribe for more, and I will see you guys in the next figure review video. Boop.